Life is good. I can't complain. I mean, I never thought I'd be back in Montreal for as long as I've been back, but it's been treating me well. I feel like it brought me where I needed to be. Changed jobs since I've been back. I've moved. I've been through exciting things, difference of friends, new friends, lost some old friends. It's been a really cleansing last couple, I'd say for the 4 years I've been back in Montreal. It's been a really what's the word? I guess healing time, or it's like a metamorphosis of where I'm meant to be in life, I guess. I feel like entering my 30s, I was like, I needed to slow down and kind of reevaluate. So life's been really good. It's been super interesting to kind of go through and take the step back and also realize what's happening in front of you. Because I feel like so many times life is moving and you never take the chance to just sit and actually recognize what's happening and why things are happening. But everything happens for a reason. I can't complain. As I was getting older, there was this idea of always wanting to not necessarily be seen, but make sure that you're fitting in with the crowd, I guess is kind of the right way to put it. And at a certain point, I just stopped giving a fuck. I stopped thinking of what other people wanted me to be or how they thought I should be, and realized that, if I'm comfortable wearing a hoodie and jeans and everyone else is in heels, then fuck it. I'm going to wear my hoodie and jeans because that's how I feel my best. And I feel like it just came to a point where I started realizing who when I'm around certain people, who makes me feel my best as opposed to who makes me feel like I need to fit in. And it was in those realizations of really doing some self-meditation and just kind of sitting back that I, started moving differently through life and moving differently with who I'm mingling with and who I want to spend my time and energy with. They always say energy is precious and don't give it to just anybody. And really starting to live by that and saying your energy is quite literally the most precious. And I was realizing I was so tired and drained at the end of days by doing literally nothing. I would go to work and come home and I'd be exhausted, but it's because I kept putting on for other people. And I feel like now lately I'm more energized and I do more things in a day than I did 2 years ago. But I'm sharing with the right people. My circle is so much smaller, but it's so much richer in the friendships that I have and the love that I have in that it just feels like sitting back and looking on it, I was like, wow, those are big changes. Those are monumental that, when you're a bit younger, you want to have those big friend circles. You want to be invited to every party. You want to go to the dinners. And honestly, as I got older, I was like, I don't care. I'd rather have my 4 friends come over and sit on my couch and go to bed at 10. I think I just really drove down into, sounds crazy, but being comfortable, being uncomfortable. I feel like a lot of people should be comfortable in their skin innately, that you should just feel comfortable in who you are. And so like I said, wearing whatever I want to wear and how I feel my best, despite maybe having a girlfriend or a friend be like, that's what you're wearing out tonight? Yeah, fuck you. This is what I'm wearing out. Nobody asked for your opinion. And so I think a lot of it was this introspective work of making sure that I feel good no matter what anyone is saying. I've been actually trying to push myself to do more in my own city, is take myself out on a date. I do it all the time when I travel solo. I take a book with me and I have the most relaxing night, grab a glass of wine, sit at my table, eat my beautiful meal that I'm gifting to myself, and just chill in my own company. And that really allowed me to just be comfortable being uncomfortable. You ask anyone, hey, did you go out to eat alone? They're like, sacrilege. I would never. So even myself, I'm trying to be more comfortable doing it in a city where I might be sitting at a restaurant and someone I know walks in and says hi, which you think is uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, why can't we treat ourselves to a nice meal or treat ourselves to a nice vacation? We don't need anyone else to do that. So I think in kind of figuring that out and being comfortable on my own and doing things completely by myself, I really found who I want to be for others and for myself in the public setting. I don't feel the need to put on a mask anymore, and the work never stops. The work always continues. You can't just get comfortable and then be complacent. I think that's where a lot of people fail because they get comfortable. Like, you can look at anyone's career. So many people are comfortable because they work so hard and then they coast. And then that coasting, they become lethargic, they become lazy, they become stagnant in their imagination and creativity. Their friendships start to go down the drain because they're just bored. And that's not just bored at work, they become bored in life. I never want to be bored in life. I always want to find the next exciting thing, and so I keep pushing myself, which is both a blessing and a curse, but I think it's one of those where you just got to keep going and never be comfortable. So that's kind of the work that I put in every day, and it never stops. I never want to let myself fail, and I actually thrive in a challenge. I love to succeed in something that's been tough. So whether it's a creative challenge and you're trying to create something beautiful and trying to figure that out, a logistical challenge as simple as like planning a vacation, I also give myself the little wins in life. So, the other day I was having a tough day. I needed a win. I built my IKEA dresser. It sounds crazy, but the littlest things in a day can just really give you that satisfaction of you won something today. And I think there's a real big importance of putting yourself to big and small challenges and giving yourself that win and giving yourself that pat on the back to say you accomplished something today. I try really hard to not take things too seriously in general. We have one life. We're not going to live forever. If you take everything so seriously, and there's a time and a place for seriousness, don't get me wrong, but in the general scheme of things, unless you're a heart surgeon or some type of doctor and you're truly saving lives with your everyday thing, it can happen. It can move to the next day. And I tell myself that in every job I've ever had. I work in marketing, I work in advertising, I've been creative. Nothing I do is saving someone's life, which at that point means if I don't complete it today, I can complete it tomorrow. And if I don't complete it tomorrow and I complete it in a week from now, that's also fine. But I think there's a level of setting expectations for yourself as well. So if you're setting out on a more difficult challenge or you're putting yourself up for something that's is going to take more energy to complete, give yourself the grace of time to complete it. And if you complete it early, bigger pat on the back for you. We had a really great dynamic growing up. I think my family, I've always been so grateful to have a family that's so tight-knit, as much as sometimes it can be super frustrating and everyone is involved in everyone's business. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I think, my sisters and I have very different dynamics where I am quite loud and extroverted and I really throw my whole heart into everything. And one of my other sisters is a lot more introverted and she's a bit more quiet and is happy to kind of be in the background as opposed to the front of it. But I think at the end of the day, we all shine in the way that gives ourselves the fuel that we need. And I think that's where we've figured out how to coexist as a family and how we get along really well as a family, because we know what each person needs to kind of bring each other up. I'm lucky and I feel so blessed. And those who maybe had a different upbringing or haven't been surrounded by that I think obviously it's not their fault and it's not to be blamed and it's not to look at them and put shame on it. It's not their fault and it's their circumstance and they lived through that. And I think that's something also to be proud of, that you've lived through maybe more difficult circumstances and whatever hardships you've come through. But I also think as humans, we need to continuously grow and change. Like I said, we challenge ourselves. And so if you've maybe and it's easy for me to say, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think if you've come from maybe a background that was a bit more difficult, or you've come from a place where you weren't surrounded by love, I would hope that you can search for that feeling so that moving forward, you don't perpetuate what happened to you and you can actually change that. Sometimes it's hard, but I learned to travel on my own, which was super uncomfortable the first time I did it. And then I realized how much I loved it because I could be extroverted when I wanted and when I chose to be. But then I could also have my moments of introversion and, chilling by myself and maybe have small interactions with people as I felt I could share my energy. So it was kind of cool discovering that, but I think as I've also gotten older and as I've realized, where my safe place is or where my comfort zone is, lately I love having friends over or even just being in my house with my dogs. And, that goes to say there's to me, there's not a place that is home. Like, I've moved a bunch of times, obviously my parents' house, and I have this and that and whatever. You live in a dwelling. But to me, home is the people around you and that's what makes it home. And so I love recharging and resetting to be introverted at home, wherever those people are. Maintaining relationships. I think those two words should never be put together in a sentence. You shouldn't have to feel like you're maintaining a relationship. If you're dating someone, it's not maintenance. You're actively putting energy and time into that because you want to, because it fuels you, because it gives you something back. And not that, and every exchange doesn't need to have a return. But I think every friendship or relationship needs to be a two-way street. And I started realizing some of my relationships were very one-way. And I kept thinking to myself, why am I putting in all of this energy and all of this effort and getting so little on return? That's maintenance. And those are kind of the relationships that I started realizing you can be my acquaintance. It's no bad blood. I still respect you as a human and I want the best for you and I will cheer for you on the sidelines. But I don't need to maintain this relationship just to say, oh yeah, I spoke to them the other day. Like I said, I'm like so deeply blessed and grateful to have the family that I do, both close and extended. We are, I won't say one of a kind because I hope and pray that other people have that type of family relationship, but it is really special to me and I hold it super close. And I feel like we were always raised on love and less of judgment. Obviously, there was moments of judgment when you're an idiot kid and you do something stupid, sure. But I feel like as we've become adults and your relationship changes with your parents. And it's almost cool because now, back in the day, my parents would say, oh, we're, I don't know, going for dinner. And I would roll my eyes, like I have to spend time with you. And now my parents ask me, do you want to go for dinner? My dad and I have a standing date night, just he and I. And it's so fun. And he picks the bar, which normally it's a very good choice. I think love is expressed in so many different ways. And especially when you have to share that out and you're not judged for it and you can love however that expression is, I think that's so important, whether it's friendships and you show them love by showing up, by being there, by listening, by whatever. Love can take on so many things. It can be a verb, it can be an action, it can be a noun, it can be literally anything and everything. And I think if more of us lived in that positive energy and manifested those types of relationships, we'd all be much happier people in the world. There was a couple friends that were, my go-to people a lot of the time, or, we'd see each other once a week or even twice a week. And I think it was the moments where I'd be home alone. And this is where being an extrovert and being comfortable, being uncomfortable and all of that, I think that's where it came into play, where I really had to kind of hone in. But I think it was hard to be home and realize, normally I call one of these people and they come over and we watch a movie or grab a glass of wine somewhere or grab a dinner randomly on a Tuesday because that's what we do. And realizing that you kind of cut that tie and so you can't just pick up the phone and call one of these people, that was hard because now you're thinking, did I make a mistake? Am I being too hard? If I'm missing them, why am I not being friends with them? Or why did I cut that tie or push back a little? At the end of the day, as much as there's grievances, I think I try not to live in regret. And if I do feel like I made a mistake, then I'm the first person to, make that phone call or send that text and say, hey, let's talk about it. Or my bad, I want to express how I was feeling at the time. Because, again, life's way too short to dwell on the little things. And I try really, really hard not to hate things or people. I think hate, as a general sense, takes the utmost energy. You can love a million times more, but hate sucks everything because negativity is a poison and it'll poison everything. You hate one little thing and then all of a sudden all these little others come in and you start hating them too. So I try really hard to, see the positives and see the silver lining. Someone once said to me, I asked them for their help with something, and they literally said, I don't have the capacity right now. And that hit me so hard, and I took it with me. That if I really need to vent, before I vent to someone, I ask them, can you take on this emotional, do you have the capacity to listen to me right now? And if they say no, I'm like, no problem. And I take it and I take whatever I need to vent about and I actually write it in a journal. And if I'm having a really big issue or something that I just wanted to scream from a rooftop, sometimes I'll take what I've written and I'll burn it because it feels like it's that anger, that boiled up, pent up energy that just needs to actually be rid of this earth. That there's something about burning it that feels like it's exited my body and now it's just gone. I don't need to talk about it. It feels good to let it out. But all of us have pent up something, and it is helpful sometimes to just have someone's ear to chat with. Assessing others, you don't know anyone's history. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know anything more than what you see in front of you. And so I try really hard to give people the grace that, I don't know you. And so if someone's rubbed me the wrong way, maybe you're just having a bad day. And that's cool. And I'm not going to say you're a horrible person and I never want to talk to you again. I'm going to give you the grace and common decency to say, maybe today wasn't your day and we'll try again another day. I think there's a difference of being social and charging your batteries where I can hang out with certain friends and I come home, and even if we got home late or whatever the case is, your cup is so full. It's, as they say, your cup runneth over. And as much as you think you're going to be so tired, you're re-energized and you're so excited and you're filled with all of this newfound something because certain people recharge your batteries. And that I find you can only really get in person. You're not going to recharge your battery by sitting on a phone for 2 hours chatting. It might be nice. It's a great catch up. Don't get me wrong. I do it often when I'm on a road trip somewhere. But the best way to feel that boost, hang out in person. Do something fun. Go play a game. Go be a kid.